William Morrow and HarperAudio present Talk of the Devil, The Collected Writings of Ian Fleming, by Ian Fleming, read by Julian Rhind-Tutt. Introduction. Ian Fleming is a unique literary figure, inasmuch as he is known for a single creation that has by now escaped any of the normal orbits of writer-to-subject relations. Of course, all authors' reputations eventually become condensed into a phrase or even an adjective. We call something Dickensian, or reference a Graham Greene hero. So the formula Ian Fleming's James Bond, or even just Ian Fleming's 007, is in its way an unsurprising epitaph. His name and reputation shine the brightest these days in the title sequences of movies that have sometimes a close, Casino Royale, and sometimes a very remote, all the other recent Bond films, connection to his writing. It's an odd fate for an avid and ambitious author, one perhaps shared only by Arthur Conan Doyle, another good writer whose destiny was to be singly sublimated into his own invention. Singly, at least, if one overlooks the truth that the Jurassic Park series is essentially derived from Conan Doyle's Challenger series and his The Lost World. And so, the pleasure of this collection of miscellaneous prose that Fleming produced as a working journalist, chiefly over his prime creative years, the 1950s, is to be reminded again of what a fine, evocative, sentence-by-sentence writer he was. Along with Conan Doyle and his close friend Raymond Chandler, Fleming is the best instance of the writer who, without literary pretension of any kind, wrote so well that his adventure stories, whatever their distorting thinness might be as mirrors of reality, keep their claim on our imaginations even when they lose their claim upon our surprise. He talked of himself as a writer of suspense, but his books still shine long after whatever suspense they contained is overwhelmed by time and familiarity. We know exactly how the stories will turn out, and reread them anyway. In truth, we knew exactly how the stories would turn out when they were written. Bond is no anti-hero, he'll always prevail. And still, we reread them. For Fleming was, one realizes turning these pages, above all, an observational writer, one who could condense sights and sounds and tastes into a handful of memorable descriptive sentences. It is the atmospherics of his Bond books that give credibility to their adventures, and his non-fiction, collected here, is pretty much a continuous distillation onto the page of those atmospheres, from London to Turkey to Jamaica and beyond. He makes moods not from self-consciously poetic evocation, but from an inventory of essential elements, from objects, things seen and sensed. He does it so well that every writer, in any genre, can still study his sentences and learn from them. Fleming's life, now recounted several times in successive biographies, was one of significant adventure in the Second World War, and a vivid life as a journalist, chiefly for the Sunday Times of London afterwards. Whatever work the winds and weather of the world did on his character, he was born into a daunting family. There's a surprising glimpse of him in the art historian Kenneth Clark's autobiography, who, talking about Fleming's pretty mother, who lived near a Clark family retreat in a remote part of Scotland, admits that he was scared away by her formidably well-equipped sons, who terrified me then as much as they did when I encountered them in later life. It is always pleasing to have a pet theory about a writer confirmed by the writer, and not the least of the pleasures of this collection is that Fleming confirms a pet theory of my own. That is, that the writing and example of Peter Fleming, Ian's older brother, was, so to speak, the missing planet X that explains the deviations and odd orbit of Ian's own. Peter Fleming, as too few readers perhaps now know, was the author of several superior travel books in the 1930s. Brazilian Adventure and Travels in Tartary are the most famous, memorable for their almost Woodhouseian humour and their deliberate note of self-deprecating irony. Afterwards, he went on to write the Fourth Leader for the Times, the light-hearted extra editorial that distinguished the paper then. Out of solidarity in
Sample complete. Ready to continue?